There are a couple of rumblings out there surrounding the Arizona Cardinals on various things. One of them is a beautiful thing. And no, I'm not talking about Thursday Night Football last night. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Been in sports radio here and sports media in Phoenix since 2011. This is my 8th year hosting Locked On Cardinals. So thank you for being part of the journey with me. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So this is kind of a grab bag show today. Obviously, Cardinals on a bye. I took a mini bye myself yesterday. And, there were a couple things that I want to discuss. Last night, this morning, I saw somebody tweet out a reputable source about potential flexing options for Week 13. Throwing the Cardinals in as a maybe as they travel to Minnesota. It would be a flex to Monday night from Sunday morning. And I just want to discuss a little bit about what that would mean in the grander scheme of things. Week 11 games impacting the Cardinals this weekend. Let's do a little rundown of games that aren't Cardinals games, but that directly impact them. But first, I don't toot my own horn a lot. I just kind of say things, and when they happen, I'm like, oh, cool, that's awesome. I don't sound like a complete idiot all the time. The Budda Baker thing, a couple articles out about how the Cardinals could get an extension done with Budda Baker before free agency of next season, and I don't know why this hasn't been obvious. A lot of pushback. Oh, Budda's not the same guy. Oh, Budda's going to cost too much money. Oh, Budda this, Budda that. He's going to be the number one free agent on the market if he hits free agency. Oh, it's not a premium position. You saying that Budda Baker is in premium to the Cardinals? Such a fallacy that people use these phrases, these buzzwords and buzz phrases to make arguments. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, it's not a premium position. Why not? Oh, because it's not pass rusher or corner. Why is safety not a premium position? Oh, it's just not. Oh, cool. Good conversation. Thank you. The reason why I wanted to take this segment to talk about him specifically, not the extension, even though that, would be fun to see happen sooner rather than later. He's finally getting to be him because of what Monti, Ossenfort, and Jonathan Gannon have built. And it kind of goes full circle. And I was trying to think about what to talk about today. And, we could talk about Week 12 a little bit. We could talk about, but I'm just like, there's nothing really piques my interest and I think would be interesting. Let's flash back to Monti Ossenfort's introductory press conference when being asked about Budda Baker. He said in a paraphrase fashion for me, you want every Arizona Cardinal to be like Budda Baker. And that was coming off of a stretch where Budda hadn't played his best football because the defense was terrible. The cornerback room was awful. The pass rush was pretty much non-existent. And the offense was failing the team. So when you look at now, 18 months later or so, when I say 18 months, just come in, like I can go to the day. Somebody can do the math if you want. But been about 18 months. Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis have built an ecosystem for Budda Baker just to play his game and not have to cover for anybody else. And we're seeing what the rewards are. Fit and situation is not as important as talent naturally, but we talk about a lot of this with quarterbacks. It's like, well, was it the right fit? Like you put Caleb Williams with Seattle or Baltimore or Kansas City, whatever it is, it's like, okay, obviously he's going to be producing a lot better than he is in the crap box that is the Chicago Bears organization right now. The same with Budda Baker and this defense and the team as a whole. The offense isn't leaving the defense out to dry. The defense has a secondary now of hard hitters who aren't perfect yet, who are very young, but are probably, and this is wild, This is wild. This is probably the best secondary Budda Baker has experienced since being drafted. I think that's fair to say. And that's bonkers. In the pass rush, has had bevy of sacks the last couple of weeks because Kazir White and Mac Wilson are great in the middle, but it's really been coaching, scheme, and letting Budda Baker just do him. And we're immediately seeing the vast differentiation between having to cover for everybody else, Budda Baker, and just being able to play himself. And he's, 6 years older? 8 years older than he was when he got drafted? However many years he's been in the league? No, not that many. 7 years older? I think he was drafted in 2017. And you see with the impact it has on this organization. He's the heart and soul of this defense. He's been since Calais Campbell. He's the next one. That's how powerful he's been. And the full circle conversation is great. The first still that we saw of Monti Ossenfort was shaking Budda Baker's hand. He's been here. He's been ready to do this. He hasn't been given the opportunity or capability to do it because the roster construction wasn't fantastic. So now, when the Cardinals are in arguably the best position they've been, when I say ever, I mean in the last 30 years. You can Neil Lomax me to death. That's fine. Oh, they won a championship when they were in Chicago. Cool. The Cardinals are in the best situation on paper that they may have ever been as an organization. It's not that difficult, but they could be the best, current roster, money to spend, draft capital. They've got the draft capital and money to spend as if they're picking number 1 overall next year. It's like they punted the last couple of years, but 2024 has been a surprise is all the way at the end. They're 2 clicks ahead of a surprise. I didn't expect them to win this many games. You kidding me? This defense was supposed to be the worst defense in the NFL, and it was for the first 5 or 6 weeks. It was bad statistically. Bad statistically. And then you see the emergence of this secondary really carrying the weight here, allowing the pass rush to get coverage sacks, allowing Kazir White and Mac Wilson to be ball hawks in the middle of the field and behind the line of scrimmage. The secondary's kind of unlocked everything. And Budda Baker's just been waiting to be able to produce like this. It's not a surprise that he's doing it. It's not he's 28 years old. Oh, he's old. Shut up. That's another just cliche thing. Oh, once you hit this age, you're gone. Same thing with James Conner. Once you hit this age, got to move off from him. I sound like a GM. You don't know what you're talking about. Watch football. He's been the most impactful defensive player on the Cardinals, and he's been probably a top 10 most impactful defensive player in the NFL in 2024. Watch football. Don't just try and sound smart. From 18 months to now, we're seeing the peak performance of Budda Baker. Closer to a decade in the league than not. Extend him. Easiest decision Monti Ossenfort will ever make as GM up until this point. Week 11 games impacting the Cardinals. There are 3 that are juicy. I'm actually going to be at one of them, which is a weird twist. I'll discuss it next. We'll be right back. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Mint Mobile. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. So with Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say goodbye to the overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. And all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get the new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. $45 upfront payment required, the equivalent to the $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds show above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by, friends at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. That's FanDuel Sportsbook app. Gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's an official partner of the NFL. Pardon me for it's a beautiful thing. Not really a pun guy. He was just too easy, Just like Philly's ability to stop Washington last night. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It is interesting to see Washington Commanders fans on Twitter really get their first taste of the Cliff Kingsbury experience. Take it or leave it. He's been great so far this year. Hopefully he turns it around, and hopefully it's an exception to the rule, except for, the entirety of his career has shown that it's not. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. If you want to go leave a review, I just get punished by opposing teams fans who don't like hearing things that are 100% positive about their team. Just jettison my score. So if you'd like to, cool. If not, I'm just happy that you're here. So there's a couple games in Week 11 that are going to be fascinating. And the first one, it's directly correlated to the Cardinals. Seattle travels to Levi Stadium to play the San Francisco 49ers. I will be at this game. It's my stepdad's birthday, and my mom got him tickets, and I'm going to be in town, so I get to go. So I get to see firsthand what Seattle's going to look like coming out of their bye. DK Metcalf seemingly healthy. Christian McCaffrey another week under his belt. And, it's going to be fascinating. So this is the biggest one impacting the Cardinals, obviously, because it's interdivisional. And if Seattle wins, they're going to move to 5-5. San Francisco will drop to 5-5. So I'll give the Cardinals a full 1-game lead in the division. The 49ers win. It will tie them with the Cardinals divisionally, both at 6-5. Put Seattle further in the cellar at 4-6, and really make the NFC West a 2-team race. But most importantly, this is a scouting game for the Cardinals. Seattle goes on the road. If they get beat by 2 scores and the Cardinals have them coming up next week, it's like blood in the water. Blood in the water. And the Seahawks have underwhelmed this year. I said they would. I thought the 49ers would win the division. I thought the Cardinals would finish third behind Seattle, but not a distant third. But Geno Smith is he's not necessarily turned into a pumpkin yet, like Sam Darnold seems to be, but he's not progressing from when he was at his best. He still throws a great deep ball. They've got all the weapons and all the land. Kenneth Walker and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Noah Fant. I mean, how many more do you need? But it'll be fascinating to see what this defense does with Geno Smith in that offense. This is the one that I will, have a firsthand account of what it's going to look like. And it's going to be interesting, because obviously Brandon Ayuk out for the year. George Kittle's hobbled. Christian McCaffrey's coming back. He wasn't on a pitch count last week. We'll see if things, plateau or if they're going to run him into the ground like they always have. Because the Cardinals were able to come back at Levi Stadium and get a win with a Chad Ryland last-second field goal. They looked elementary. Pedestrian, not elementary. They looked pedestrian without Christian McCaffrey. They looked fine last week. Christian McCaffrey didn't have to do a whole bunch, even though he, put up almost 20 fantasy points. That's the big one for me. It's going to sway things pretty significantly one way or the other. Like if San Francisco beats them handily, and then the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals on the road, they go on the road to Seattle in week 12. Yeah, it's in Seattle. And the Cardinals can go up to, it's always going to be CenturyLink Field for me, go up to the Pacific Northwest and get a win in Seattle, which it's always a weird place to play. Whoever's supposed to win those games rarely does. And Seattle's had a nice little run up there against the Cardinals. But the Cardinals, if Seattle loses to the 49ers and the Cardinals go up to Seattle the next week and win, it's like, okay, 2-team race. The Cardinals are staying lockstep with San Francisco, and we've got a foot race to the division crown. Anybody have that on the bingo card that I'd be talking about in week 11? No? Yeah, me either. Now, if Seattle wins, that's probably better for the Cardinals. Like, this would probably be the best case scenario, in my opinion. Seattle wins, and then the Cardinals go up to Seattle and beat them the next week. Like, that would be, you're going to get it. That would be the chef's kiss scenario. Okay? And could happen. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen the rest of the year. I had no idea we were going to be here anyways. All you can do is trust that they're going to be prepared, they're going to be motivated, and they're going to show up on Sunday and play meaningful and competent football. That's pretty much it, which is, pretty good starting point. So that's a fascinating one for me. And then you've got Atlanta at Denver. So Atlanta's the 4 seed. They're 6-4 also. And Philly obviously already won last night, so they're the 2 seed, and Detroit's more than an arm's reach away from the Cardinals at this point. Denver's given Atlanta fits, or Denver's given the NFL fits. They should have beat Kansas City last week. Either way, they were not a world-beating offense the Chiefs were against this Denver defense. Bo Nix looks competent. Cortland Sutton's having a career resurgence. And Kirky on the road against a good defense outside. Seems like this could be a win, especially coming off that loss off the block kick last week. Denver be more motivated than normal, not only to stay in the playoff hunt, but to beat a team that many picked to have a deep playoff run this season in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins' addition. And then Green Bay as well. They coming off their bye. They have Chicago. This should be a win. It's one to watch just because they've got a close record of Green Bay. They've got a close record of the Cardinals. But that's about it. I mean, you pretty much know at this point there are like 9 teams that can make the playoffs in the NFC. And I know that's over half, but it used to be so much more through 10 weeks. There's no middle class in the NFL anymore, at least not this year. A 3-win team is picking like a 9th in the draft. Like it's wild. So if the Cardinals can get some help, I think it's a rooting for Seattle moment. It's a rooting for Denver moment. And I don't know. I think Green Bay is going to absolutely stomp Chicago. But, interdivision, Packers, Bears, who knows? Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. What would a potential Week 13 flex mean for the Cardinals? It's not just about the game. I'll discuss it next. As we roll on here, Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Hillsdale College. I mean, Hillsdale College is awesome. And, time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through some mind-numbing content for hours and hours. And how can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? History, economics, the great world of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution. Did you study those things in school? Probably not. Or even if you did, maybe it's time for a refresher. Time and technology have changed a lot, but they have not changed basic things, fundamental truths about the world and our place in it. Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever you want and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do today. We've got so much time to talk about Seattle next week, but talking about that game without the context of a division rival game this Sunday, after they come off the bye, DK coming off an injury, their season kind of hanging in the balance a little bit because the pop that they had last year and the year before isn't really there this year. So it'll be interesting to see what a young head coach of the Seattle Seahawks have, and going up to Levi Stadium in must win, whatever, in a very important game for their season, determining the outlook of it. I think it was better just to wait and then talk about that on Monday. And as we get in through next week, crossover Thursday, etc. There are outlets out there. It's very early. I mean, we're 2 weeks away, but you can flex now, starting in week 12, including Monday Night Football games. So the reason why I would want to see the Cardinals flexed into Monday night against Minnesota is this team needs as much high-pressure situation as possible. As many high-pressure situations as possible. Bring it. Unleash the floods. Because this is something that they're one of the hotter teams that people are starting to notice. Oh, look, the Arizona Cardinals are fun. Oh, they're playing really good football. James Conner, Trey McBride hurdling, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray is atop the NFL charts in most statistical categories regarding averages and EPA and things like that. Like, all the analytics love the Cardinals, and the defense with Budda Baker, and the pass rush and the corners with Garrett Williams, and Max Melton's getting some pub. But they still don't really believe in the Cardinals, and it's fine. And that's not what this is for. I would rather see the Cardinals go through these tests every week as hard as possible. They've got a lighter schedule. They've got Carolina. They've got New England later. They've got Seattle again. They've got the Rams again. Who knows what they're going to be in week 17. And they've got the ability to potentially stack some wins. I would like to see as many games as possible under the biggest and brightest of lights. Me, it's not being skeptical or cynical or non-believing. And when I look at games that are decided by 1 point, 2 points, things like that, and one of the main ways that the Cardinals scored touchdowns were on large chunk touchdown runs by Kyler Murray, I kind of take pause a little bit. And it's not like, oh, those games didn't matter. Oh, it's not like, I don't know, Jared Goff is running a 60-yard touchdown run or something. I'm not saying it's outside of the realm of normalcy or possibility. And it's also one where it's like, if Kyler Murray didn't break that 50-yarder against San Francisco at the beginning of the game, would they have won? I mean, they could have marched down and scored a touchdown. We don't know. The Chargers at home on Monday night, Kyler Murray's 45-yard scamper got outside the edge off the bat from the backer and took that to the house, and they won barely in that game as well. So I want to see as many situations where the Cardinals have to be bona fide battle tested under the biggest lights. And it's going to be a tough game going to the Twin Cities to play Minnesota anyways. I would love to see Monday Night Football. I would love it, love it, love it. And the fact that the Cardinals are in consideration, it's also I looked at the slate. It's not the best slate that week. So, Fox may freeze that game and not allow it to move to ABC/ESPN. We don't know. But I would love to see it. I would love to see Kyler Murray get tested as much as possible. I would love to see the secondary get tested as much as possible. And it's not like it's not like it's no longer like a be careful what you wish for kind of thing. This isn't 2021. I never would have asked for it then, even when they were 7-0 and 10-2. Never, no shot. But now it's like, you think Jonathan Gannon, Nick Rawls, and Drew Petzing won't get these guys juiced even more than they already are for a Monday night game, week 13, where you're looking at potentially winning the division and solidifying yourself as a playoff team? When everybody, including me, thought 2025 was the year for explosion. Giddy up, dude. I would absolutely love it. Now, we'll see. I mean, these are just still rumblings, but I felt like instead of talking about week 12 already, we're going to do that plenty next week. This thought it'd be fun to discuss for a little bit. Hopefully Budda Baker gets an extension before free agency. I love that he's able just to play his game now and not have to cover for others. Seattle and 49ers, big week 11 matchup. And I'll be there, so I'll say hi to you guys from there. And flex to week 13, Minnesota Cardinals. Hopefully you can make Sam Darnold see some more ghosts under the bright lights. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. Enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you Monday.